Hey, good morning guys. I'm the Tech Prepper. I wanted to make a quick video on putting together an evacuation plan that is specific to the type of evacuation that could be necessary in your area. Where we're living right now, we just had the Ocotillo fire, and it's only about 6 miles from our house. And as prepared as my wife and I are, we probably would have been okay if we had to evacuate, but I decided to take the opportunity to kind of walk you guys through our plan to help you put together a plan. And it may be different depending on where you are. But before we do that, let's go ahead and I don't want to get political, but one thing I want to say is if you're still living in the city and you haven't learned from COVID-19 or the string of riots, you may want to consider your living situation and get the heck out of the cities. That's just my 2 cents. I don't think things are going to get better in the cities, and martial law feels like it's going to be coming within the next month or so. So on that token, if you haven't doubled down on restocking your supplies, things could be worse than the original first few days of the COVID-19 lockdown. So just my 2 cents, take it for what it's worth. And then if you're not into guns and personal security, you may want to rethink that. Personally, my wife started concealed carrying again, and actually not again, for the first time. She is trained in the firearm she has, but she's never felt the need to carry it. So she's carrying it now. And then I have upgraded to a full-size carry pistol. I typically don't open carry, but I'd rather have a gun that gives me a bit more capacity and one that I am much better trained to shoot accurately and quickly. So with that said, let's go ahead and get into the evac plan. And I've got some notes prepared, so I hope you guys don't mind it too much. So I like to start, any kind of endeavor with some goals that I want to set out and accomplish. So for me, my evacuation plan needs to be one to define the plan. And the first goal is that we want to have the ability to leave within 15 minutes notice. And one thing we found for our area, the fastest way to get notified of an evacuation plan, oddly enough, it's not so much the text messages that have been coming out that are regional or localized to your area, but for us in Maricopa County, Twitter, of all things, seems to be the fastest way to get reliable, up-to-date information. So one, we're following Twitter to make sure that if there is a notice that we know of it immediately, and then we want to basically have a 15-minute window to get out of here. For us, we're looking specifically at a fire situation, but this could apply to any evac plan. We want to make sure we have the ability to sustain ourselves with what we have for a minimum of 3 days without having to resupply, but more likely a 2-week window. So that's kind of the goals we're working with here. So for us, the two biggest pieces of our kit and our plan are to have 2 vehicles. One is our Jeep Wrangler, so that will give us the ability, if we need to and can't get out to the main roads, to take the backcountry. And then the other one is the RV. So the plan there is for me to drive the RV and my wife to chase me. The RV as a prep item, I can't understate how important it is, at least for us. You basically have a pre-stocked second home, and it doesn't have to be an expensive RV. Our RV actually has a monthly payment that is less expensive than my Jeep. The Jeep's almost paid off, but so rethink that. If you can afford a truck, a $500 payment, you can afford a small Class C and have everything you need. So those are the 2 big pieces. In terms of the vehicles themselves, we always operate with having both vehicles always up and fully maintained. Oil changes, tire pressure, fluids. As I mentioned in the last video, I'm working on the battery upgrade, so I'm getting on top of that as quickly as it became an issue. So just make sure that you also have a full tank of gas. In our case, we also have all of the tank capacities filled to 100%. So liquid propane, water, and then the gasoline tank. To help us get over that kind of 3-day minimum to 5-day or to 2-week period, the way that we actually have our kits, we have a lot of layering and a lot of redundancies. So the first thing on our kit is our everyday carry. And I've done a video on my EDC, and I'll link that below. So the EDC in of itself gives me about a day and a half of provisions alone, in terms of food, water, and being able to recharge devices and clothing and a few other things. And it's a small Haley Strategic Flat Pack Plus. So that's number one. So we have the ability now to go about a day and a half for one person. The second piece is we have our go bags ready to go. My wife and I both have one. I'll link to those videos as well. And those give us, if we don't ration, each 3 full days, we probably could stretch it out to 5. So now we're at about 6.5 days just between the EDC bag and the go bag. I also did a video on our animals, so the other checklist item, and this is the other important piece. I keep note cards with my checklist of items. So I just run down this list, and these are the items that go into the vehicles. It's the dog go bag and their crate. And their dog go bag actually has 3 days worth of food, which is fantastic, and all the stuff they need. Next is personal security. I did a video that I think was highlighted in the vehicle loadout for the Jeep, and in there I kind of describe what's the minimum I carry as part of a personal security loadout. So it's typically a rifle, at least 4 extra or 5 extra magazines for my full-size pistol, and then a plate carrier to assist with the loadout and offer some protection. Next on my list is our food water, and I really haven't shown this one. So what we have next to our go bags and our kits in our closet, 2 gallons of water that are just easy to go. Again, this complements all the water we already have in the RV, or additional water if we have time in that 15-minute window to add more. But these are always kind of reserved to quickly go into the RV. So this will give us a couple days of water. The other thing that I'm doing is I love these totes from the Home Depot or Lowe's, but this is just a kind of a grab kit for food provisions. And the rice is actually primarily designed because this is a ton of meals, but it gives us the ability to have additional food for the dogs as well as ourselves. But as you can see here, I've got a bunch of freeze-dried meals, snacks. I've got stuff like noodles. I'm a big coffee fan, so these instant coffees keep me going. So it's not a lot here, but this is enough for another 5 days. And then in the RV, we also have those emergency buckets. So if we have time, we can actually grab more out of the pantry, but at least this is all together. It's right next to our go bags, and it doesn't take us any time to figure out where things are. Actually, let's do some coffee. All right. Yeah. So we need to have a plan on where we want to go. So we know the area pretty well now, but we have 2 sets of maps. In the RV, we have an atlas of the US, and the reason why I'm preferring paper maps is that I don't trust these phones. We will obviously use them if we have cell coverage and those map-based online services are still working, but nothing beats, again, like the atlas we have for the entire US in the RV. But then for us, I also have a number of Usgs topographical maps for my area. So again, if the major artery leaving our house is blocked and the only option is 4x4, I do have a couple of compasses with me at all times, and I do know how to read the topographical maps. So we have the ability to actually find an alternate route. So that's number 2. And also, reading topo maps is a little bit of an art. If you haven't done it before, you may want to look into some classes from REI, if they are available in your area. I think they host the map navigation class about once a month. If not, it's something you can actually try out yourself. in your area. If you've got a local regional park or something that's got that'll allow you to orient yourself on the map and shoot some bearings and do some land navigation would be my preference. All right, guys. So the other thing, a Go kit I haven't gone over and probably won't go over in this video is I've never gone over my loadout for work. And this is basically just a more tactical looking briefcase. I've had it for many years, and it has my laptop, the battery charger, an extra USB charger, pens, pencils, pads, things of that nature. So the ability for me to, and also my external hard drive that I used for my most recent backups. So I just need to grab this and add it to the rest of the kit. So I have the ability to have all of my digital files with me as well. And as I've mentioned in the other videos where we go over the go bags, we always keep our travel documents in our go bags in a Ziploc bag. But there's another set of documents that we also have on our checklist. And this might be our tax forms from the last tax year, printouts with passwords for systems, recovery keys, insurance information, warranty information. So I keep it in a small portfolio. And again, it's not my full set of files. I've been keeping files for the last 25 years. But this is the bare minimum for us to have a offline kind of copy of critical documentation. So I recommend some type of portfolio like this to be added to your checklist. Oh, so another thing that we decided to do is we also want to be comfortable, right? We don't want to feel like we're homeless if we have to evacuate. So the RV has a drawer full of clothing for each of us, but one other thing we added to this kit is we have a small travel bag. It's maybe 25 liters, and it has some toiletries and then enough like socks, underwear, pants, shorts, t-shirt, light jacket for about 3 days. And that's 3 days of full change of clothes for each day. So we could stretch that out over a couple of weeks if we don't need to shower or can't shower. So that's just to be comfortable. And then the last item on our list is just to make sure you grab things like keys, wallets, and then medications and anything you might need. So bottom line, guys, is come up with a plan, set yourself up with a set of goals, have a checklist, and I actually have other checklists for each of the items. So I have a full checklist for what my comms gear looks like. In fact, I think I may have missed my comms gear on this list. But one of the other items on this list is to make sure that I load out with my ham radio gear. So for me, it's my QRP, all band, all mode Yaesu radio, my handheld radio, the chargers for that, and the antennas and feed line. In fact, I'm missing all kinds of stuff today. Their sip of coffee is required. And the other piece of this gear is I want to have multiple redundancies. So the RV is fully stocked up with enough gas. We can run off generator. We could probably drive to a place that has shore power. But part of my checklist item, or one of the checklist items here, is off-grid power. So I have a checklist to grab my gas generator, my portable solar panels, and then I have a handful of different sized Bioino 12-volt batteries that I can charge off the charge controller and the solar panel. And again, it may be overkill, but then if we ever find ourselves in a situation where we really have to boondock, we have the ability to draw some power. And then that kit also has the a small inverter. We're going to be upgrading the inverter probably to 1,000 watt or 2,000 watt pure sine inverter. Right now it's just a cheap 450 watt inverter. At any rate, guys, I don't want to be pedantic and just be preachy here, but this is what works for us, what gives my wife and I comfort. And again, you may want to tweak this based on your personal situation and your needs, but have a plan, have a checklist. So be strong, be prepared, and be safe.